I'm Brady, and this is for our research video. My group is me, Max, Finn, and Bo, and we were assigned the reservations of Montana. I was assigned the Flathead Reservation and the Little Shell Chippewa, but the Little Shell Chippewa is technically not a reservation. The headquarters are just stationed in Great Falls. But I'm going to start off with the Flathead Reservation. The tribes that are in the Flathead Reservation are the Salish, Kootenai, and the Pend Oreille. They would always usually tend to get along with each other and rarely fought with each other. The creation of the Flathead Reservation was really complicated. The Hellgate Treaty was signed in 1859 to put them on the reservation, but however they were not officially escorted onto the reservation until 1889. The tribes that lived on the reservation would go west into Idaho and east into the Dakotas, north into Canada, and just all around in this area, and didn't really like it when they were put on the reservation, as did any of the other tribes. Even though they went everywhere else in Montana, the reservation was really big. It was the biggest reservation in Montana, with 1.25 million acres of reserved land for these three tribes to share. This reservation is the biggest and is placed on the biggest lake west of the Mississippi. They have the water rights to that lake and really got their money and thrived off of selling the land into people who wanted to build cabins and other establishments. The major city that is on the reservation and that produces the income is Polson. The city itself does not have a large native population because the natives live sparsely outside the city and are not located in the city. There were not many famous people that I could find, but a lot of great chiefs that came out of here. But on to the Little Shell Chippewa. The Little Shell Chippewa do not have their own reservation, and the members live all over. They can live in any city they want to, wherever Montana, but the headquarters are in Great Falls. This tribe consists of mainly Little Shell Chippewa Indians, and in 2019, they got their federal recognition. Although there was no land reserve for these Indians, they roamed the Dakotas, and they had around 63 million acres of land. Much like the other tribes that started in 1962, they were helping the fur companies, like the Hudson Bay Company and many others in Canada. They knew how to feed a big bunch of people because there was approximately 6,500 people enrolled in the tribe that roamed Canada and the northern states, living off the land and its animals. The tribe was originally called Ojibwe, and they got their name Little Shell Chippewa after the great chief Little Shell. Although he sold their land for 5 cents per acre, and tribe member asked to be paid $500,000 US for their land, he sent news after some years to Washington that he would sell 52 million acres of land for $1 an acre. The tribe fell apart, but later was reunited, and they strived for federal recognition, which they later got, and that is the Little Shell Chippewa.
Fort Peck Reservation was established in 1871. Fort Peck is the home of two tribes, the Assiniboine and the Sioux. It is located in northeast Montana, near Poplar, Montana. Army officials wanted other Sioux tribes to come together, but they considered them hostiles. This led to more battles, which started the Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876, which Custer was killed in. Fort Peck Reservation has a vast number of beautiful plants that dot the countryside. You may see herds of bison roaming the prairies, as well as big game animals such as elk, deer, and pronghorn. There are many tribal ceremonies that take place, and you can enjoy the beautiful native music and dances. There is also fishing on the Fort Peck Reservoir. Fort Belknap, established in 1888, named after William W. Belknap, who was the Secretary of the War at the time. It was a fort as well as a trading post. It is located southeast of Chinook, Montana. Fort Belknap is the home of two tribes, the Assiniboine and the Gros Ventre. The natives called themselves White Clay people because they believed they were found along the river bottoms in Gros Ventre country. When the French met the natives and the natives signed passing of the hands over the belly, the French thought it meant big belly or Gros Ventre.
My name is Bo Held, and I'm going to be talking about the Blackfoot and Rocky Boy reservations. The Blackfeet were feared Plains warriors. Historians believe the Blackfeet were forced out of their ancestral grounds into today's Upper Great Lakes region by white advancement. They are one of the first Native American tribes to head west. Though there are several stories on how they received their name, the most reasonable is that their moccasins were blackened from the long journey across the prairie to reach what would become Montana today. Blackfeet territory once ranged into southern Canada and south through Montana to Yellowstone National Park. Theirs was a nomadic life. Before acquiring horses, dogs were used to pull the travois as they traveled in search of bison. They were one of the first tribes to use pushkins, steep cliffs over which herds of bison were driven for harvesting. Initially, Blackfeet stayed out of many of the wars between Native Americans and white settlers, yet they still got caught in the middle of battles even when they were trying to stay neutral. There was a massacre of innocent Blackfoot natives when they were mistaken for another tribe during an altercation. Like many Native Americans, the Blackfeet suffered from forced relocation and assimilation efforts instigated by white settlers. Many of them tried to resist assimilation, and for 3 decades after their first treaty with the United States they refused to give up hunting in favor of farming. However, the buffalo were almost extinct by the early 1880s, and nearly 1/4 of the Piegan Blackfeet died of starvation. This part is about Rocky Boy and their history. Originally living in Canada, a small group of Cree broke off and migrated south in the late 1800s. These Indians eventually combined with a tribe of nomadic Chippewa led by Chief Rocky Boy. A congressional statute in 1960 created the Rocky Boy Reservation as part of the former Fort Assiniboine Military Reserve. The Rocky Boy Reservation, the smallest in Montana, is located in the Bear Paw Mountains in north-central Montana. Rocky Boy's Indian Reservation was established in 1879 when Fort Assiniboine Indian Reservation was established. The United States may have used it as a POW camp first, then made it a reservation soon after. It originally covered over 1,000 square miles. On the extreme southern border was the Chippewa-Judith Basin Reservation. After Chief Rocky Boy died in April of 1916, the United States reduced the reservation's landmass from over 1,000 square miles to under 100 square miles. The reduced Rocky Boy's Indian Reservation was confined to the Bear Paw Mountains, excepting the area around the Box Elder. The United States changed the name from Fort Assiniboine Indian Reservation to Rocky Boy's Indian Reservation.